Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Great to be here.
Today we're taking a close look at Tencent Music Entertainment Group, specifically their upcoming earnings report.
That's right, TME.
Our mission is to unpack all the critical details for you, the history, the market mood, what could happen.
Okay.
Basically, help you understand what really counts with this report.
Yeah, cut through the noise.
And before we really jump in, if you find these sessions valuable, please do subscribe, like this one, maybe leave a comment. It genuinely helps us out.
It really does.
You could even consider buying us a coffee to support the show. We appreciate it.
Definitely.
Also, if there's a specific company you want us to analyze like this, just let us know in the comments. We do read them and try to tailor things to what you're interested in.
Absolutely. Listener requests are great.
Okay, so TME earnings. Let's get straight to it.
All right. So the key day you need is August 12th, 2025. That's when they report. And it'll be before the U.S. market opens.
Before the bell. Got it. And the call.
The earnings call itself is set for 7:00 Eastern Time. That's 7:00 p.m. Beijing time. So could be an early morning or late evening, depending on where you are.
Right. So the big question then, what are the analysts actually expecting here? What's the consensus?
Okay. The street consensus is looking for revenue around $1.11 billion.
Okay.
And for earnings per share, EPS, the number is 0.20 cents.
20 cents. Is there a whisper number this time?
Interestingly, no. There isn't a widely reported whisper number floating around for this one.
What does that usually tell us?
Well, it suggests expectations are probably quite aligned with that official $0.20 consensus. Less speculation. Maybe the market feels it has a decent handle on things.
Okay, so maybe less room for a huge surprise versus unspoken expectations.
Potentially. It's also worth noting TME hasn't given explicit revenue or EPS guidance for this quarter in their recent filings.
All right.
But what they have emphasized in past quarters is that push for double-digit music subscription growth and also keeping a tight lid on costs. Prudent cost management, they call it.
Those have been the key themes then, subscription growth and cost control.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Ew.
How has TME performed historically around earnings? Do they usually beat, miss, meet?
Looking back over the last 4 quarters, it's honestly been a bit of a mixed bag, which isn't too surprising, really.
Okay.
So for Q1 2025, just last quarter, they actually met the EPS estimate, $0.18. That was bang on.
Good start.
But the revenue missed, came in at $1.01 billion when the estimate was $1.1 billion.
Ooh, that's quite a gap.
Yeah, an 8.3% downside surprise on revenue. That's fairly significant. Probably caught a few people off guard.
I think so. An 8.3% revenue miss isn't small. What about before that, end of last year?
Right. Before that, Q4 2024, that was actually a solid beat on both. EPS was $0.20 versus $0.19 expected, so a 5.3% beat there.
Right.
And revenue was $1.02 billion against $996 million estimated, a 2.6% upside. So they finished 2024 strong.
Okay, better picture there. And Q3?
Q3 2024. So they missed slightly on EPS, or $1.16 actual versus $1.70 and 70 cents estimated, so down 5.9%. But they did beat on revenue that quarter. $1 billion versus $981 million, a 1.9% beat.
So a mix again. EPS miss, revenue beat.
Exactly. And Q2 2024 was generally pretty much in line or maybe a slight beat. So you see the pattern. It varies.
It does.
Yeah.
So how does the stock react to these beats and misses? Is it straightforward?
That's the really telling part. TME stock tends to react less to the headline beat or miss itself.
Oh, interesting.
And much more significantly to the forward commentary, the guidance. What management says about the future?
So it's all about the outlook.
Precisely. It tells you investors are really focused on, future growth, especially in music subscriptions, rather than just looking backward. It's a very forward-looking stock.
Okay, examples. How did it react to that Q1 revenue miss?
Well, after that big Q1 miss, the stock reaction was actually pretty muted, just some slight downside pressure.
Really? After an 8% miss?
Yeah. And then Q4 2024, after the solid beat, there was a modest rally, but it faded pretty quickly.
Like, okay, good, but what's next?
Exactly that feeling. And Q3 2024, after that EPS miss, the stock drifted lower, but it found support, didn't collapse.
So if I'm hearing you right, the market is essentially saying, show us the future, not just the past. That really puts the spotlight on management's forward guidance, doesn't it?
You've hit the nail on the head. It's all about that forward look.
And what does this all mean for the underlying business trends? Are the core parts growing?
Yeah, looking at the internal trends, there's a really steady, quite encouraging increase in music subscription revenue. That's the big positive.
Recurring revenue, investors like that.
Exactly. And we're also seeing their operating margin improve. mostly because they've been reducing content costs, getting more efficient.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Better profitability.
Right. Now, on the other side, the advertising and the social entertainment revenues, things like live streaming, those have been flatter, maybe even declining a bit.
Okay, so some weakness there.
Yes, but the strength in music subscriptions has pretty much offset that weakness so far. It shows a successful shift towards that more stable subscription model.
That steady subscription growth is definitely key then. Sounds like they're leaning into it hard. But it's not just internal stuff, right? What about external factors? Big news. Ownership changes this quarter.
Well, here's where it gets interesting, actually. One thing we've noticed is rising institutional interest.
Oh, who's buying?
Specifically, firms like Acadian Asset Management and AQR Capital have increased their holdings quite notably.
Big names.
Yeah. And this has brought total institutional ownership up to about 24.3%.
So nearly a quarter of the company is held by institutions now. What does that signal?
It often signals a vote of confidence, Smart money perhaps believing in the long-term story, especially that subscription growth narrative.
Makes sense. Anything else major happening externally? Product launches? Regulation?
Actually, the quarter was relatively quiet on that front for TME specifically. No huge product rollouts or major regulatory headlines that jumped out.
Sometimes no news is good news, I suppose.
It can be. Allows the underlying business trends to speak for themselves.
What about the bigger picture? China tech sector? Macro economy?
Looking broader, we are seeing a sort of modest recovery in Chinese tech overall, which is positive after some tough years.
Yeah.
Consumer digital spending seems pretty stable. People are still paying for online entertainment, but the advertising market, that's still a bit mixed.
Which connects back to their weaker ad revenue.
Exactly. Some sectors are up, some are down. But the key for TME is that their core subscription business is generally seen as more resilient to those macro headwinds.
People keep their music subscriptions even if they cut back elsewhere.
Often, yeah. Small monthly cost. And currency swings, like CNY-USD, they've only had minor impacts, really. Not a huge factor for this report.
Okay. And what are analysts saying recently? Still generally positive.
The overall sentiment from recent analyst commentary is pretty consistent. Most are sticking with hold or maybe modest buy ratings.
No major upgrades or downgrades then?
Not really. The consensus price target is actually near the stock's current highs, so it suggests a sort of cautiously constructive view.
Cautious because of?
Mainly because of the tailwinds from subscriptions, that's the positive driver. But there's still that caution around the advertising and social parts, which are just less predictable.
Okay, cautious optimism focused on subscriptions. Makes sense. Let's talk about the stock chart itself, the technical setup.
Yeah.
How's TME been trading leading into this?
Well, the shares recently actually tested their 52-week high. That's $22.50.
Okay, testing the peak.
Right. And that's a really significant level. Shows momentum, but it's also a natural place for sellers to maybe take profits. Right now, the stock's consolidating just below that peak.
So pausing near the high.
Exactly. Last close was $21.29, so it's definitely near the upper end of its 12-month range, which goes from about $9.41 up to that $22.50 high.
Big run-up over the year then. Where's the support if it pulls back?
Key support we're watching is around $19.75. That was a recent low, and also a level it broke out from earlier, so a potential floor.
And resistance is clearly that $22.50 high.
Yes, $22.50 is the big one. Breaking cleanly above that would be a very positive technical signal. Failing there could lead to a pullback towards that support.
Clear levels to watch. Now, what about the options market? What are traders betting on in terms of the size of the move after earnings? What's that implied volatility telling us?
Great question. So options are pricing in roughly a plus or minus 9.7% move for the stock right after the earnings come out.
Nearly 10%. How does that compare historically for TME?
It's actually slightly above the historical average post-earnings move for TME.
Oh, really? So the market's expecting a bit more of a wild ride than usual this time.
It suggests that, yeah, maybe heightened uncertainty or just potential for a bigger reaction to whatever news comes out, good or bad. Options are pricing in more volatility.
So the market expects some fireworks. This raises an important question. What would a truly bullish scenario look like? What needs to happen for the stock to break out higher?
Okay, for a really bullish case, you'd want to see a strong beat on both subscription growth, maybe accelerating or well into double digits, and also beating that $1.20 EPS estimate.
Beat on both key metrics.
Yes. But maybe even more critically, you'd want to see an upward revision to their forward margin guidance. That signals better profitability ahead.
No, better outlook too.
And positive commentary specifically about how they're monetizing users, maybe more users upgrading to premium tiers, things like that, if all that lines up.
And maybe it breaks $22.50.
That would be the setup for a potential breakout through that resistance, yeah. Could propel the stock higher.
And the flip side, what does a bearish scenario look like? What could push it back towards that $19.75 support?
Well, obviously, a revenue or EPS miss would be negative, but particularly if the weakness comes from those already softer segments, social entertainment or advertising, that would confirm fears.
So weakness where it's already expected to be weak.
Kind of, yeah, or getting worse. And equally damaging would be cautious guidance. If management warns about macro headwinds hitting them, or, crucially, if they signal a slowdown in that key music subscription growth.
If the main engine sputters.
Exactly. That could easily send the stock back below $20, testing that $19.75 support level. It really hinges on meeting or beating those forward-looking expectations.
So boiling it all down,
Yeah.
what's the single most critical metric everyone should be watching?
It has to be music subscription revenue growth. Given the mixed picture elsewhere, that is the absolute key driver of sentiment right now.
Everything else is secondary to that number.
To a large extent, yes. If that number disappoints, it could overshadow strength elsewhere. If it stays strong, it provides a solid foundation.
Okay, so putting it all together, what's the overall leaning here? Bullish, bearish, neutral, and how confident?
Overall, I'd say we're leaning neutral to maybe slightly bullish. Let's put a confidence score of maybe 6 out of 10 on that.
Okay, a 6 out of 10, neutral bullish. Why?
Well, the market expects solid results, especially from subscriptions. That's priced in to some extent. But there is that higher than average volatility risk indicated by the options market.
Right, the 9.7% implied move.
Yeah. And while that institutional buying is a mild positive.
Smart money coming in.
Right. But the guidance is still a question mark, and those digital ad trends are still a potential weak spot. So it's a bit of a delicate balance.
Understood. So given that balance and the potential for a big move, how should people think about approaching this if they're considering a trade or an investment adjustment? Different risk levels.
Sure. For someone who's risk-averse, honestly, the simplest approach is often just to wait. Let the dust settle after the report, see how the market digests it.
Sit on the sidelines. Avoid the immediate chop.
Exactly. Now, if you're sort of cautiously bullish, thinking it might break higher, but you want limited risk, you could look at something like a call spread. Buying a call, selling a higher strike call, maybe above that $22 level.
Caps the upside, but limits the loss.
Precisely. More conservative bet on a breakout.
And for someone with a higher risk tolerance, someone willing to bet on that big implied move.
If you're willing to embrace that volatility, you could consider strategies like a straddle or a strangle, buying both a call and a put.
Betting on a big move, but not necessarily which direction.
That's the idea. Using strikes around maybe $20 and $22 could aim to capture that implied 10%-ish move. It plays into TME's tendency to react more to the commentary and guidance than just the headline numbers.
Because a surprising guidance could cause a big swing either way.
Correct. But a general caution for everyone. Owning any stock through earnings carries significant risk. It's really best if you have strong, long-term conviction. The volatility is high, and the outcome can feel pretty binary, especially near technical highs like this.
Definitely not for the faint of heart, as they say.
Not at all.
Well, this has been incredibly thorough. We've gone from the immediate report details through the history, the current context, the technicals, potential outcomes, and even strategies. Hopefully this gives you listening a much clearer picture of TME heading into earnings.
Yeah, hopefully it provides some useful context.
And maybe one final thought for our listeners to chew on. Something beyond the immediate report.
Sure. Maybe think about this. Beyond TME's specific numbers next week, how might the broader shifting landscape of digital entertainment in China, the fight between subscriptions and ad-supported models, the impact of short video, how might that influence the whole investment case for companies like TME over the next year or so?
That's a great point. Are subscriptions the long-term winner or just one piece of a rapidly changing puzzle?
Exactly. Those underlying structural shifts are just as vital as the quarterly numbers for the long haul.
A critical lens to apply indeed. Thank you for joining us on Investing Talk Podcast. Stay curious, stay informed.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you on the next one.